All right, today we're diving into a massive challenge: how climate change is hitting small-scale farmers. We're going to look at a really promising solution that's being tried out in Tanzania, but we're also going to uncover this hidden, much more complicated question that's bubbling just under the surface. It's a question about what progress actually looks like.
You know, it really all boils down to this, doesn't it? For millions of families, this isn't some abstract debate on the news. No, this is their daily reality. It's what decides if there's food on the table and what kind of future their kids are going to have.
So, first things first, let's zoom right in on the core dilemma these farmers are facing, especially in a place like Tanzania, where the stakes are so incredibly high.
Now get a load of this number. Over half of the entire workforce is in agriculture. So we're not just talking about one part of the economy here. For a huge chunk of the population, it is the economy. When farming struggles, you better believe the whole country feels it. And the research is pretty clear. Farming is struggling to keep up. There are these huge gaps between what farms could be producing and what they actually are. And it comes down to three main things. They're super vulnerable to weird weather, they don't have access to the latest tech, and you're going to want to remember this last one, the way work is divided up inside the family itself is actually holding them back.
Okay, so that's the problem. What's the fix? Well, a lot of experts are pushing this idea called climate-smart agriculture.
So what in the world is climate-smart agriculture, or CSA for short? Well, to put it simply, it's a whole approach designed to help farmers adapt. It's all about getting more out of their land while also making their farms tough enough to handle new climate curveballs, like droughts or floods.
This lays it out perfectly. It's supposed to be a triple win. First, you raise productivity. That means more food, more income. Second, you boost resilience, so one bad season doesn't just wipe a family out. And third, and this is so important, you improve the actual livelihoods of the people. See, it's not just about the crops, it's about the people.
But this is where our story takes a really interesting turn. The researchers on this project, they realized that there was a much deeper, more complex question hiding just beneath this very neat and tidy solution.
Because, you can't just drop a new piece of tech into a community and expect everything to magically get better. Real life is messy, and it doesn't get much messier than the complicated dynamics inside a single family.
I mean, think about it. If you introduce a new farming practice that takes more work, who's actually out there doing that extra work?
And when it's time to decide what to plant or if you should sell the extra crops, whose voice in the house gets to make that final call? Which, of course, leads to the biggest question of all. When the farm finally does bring in more money, does everyone in that family, the men, the women, the kids, do they all get a fair slice of the pie?
So this is the real heart of the study. It's not just asking, hey, do they use the new seeds? No, it's asking, did these new seeds fundamentally change how the family works together and shares the rewards? And that right there is the difference between just adopting something new and a real lasting transformation. It's a much, much higher bar for success.
So how on earth do you even measure something that complex? Well, that's where the search for proof begins. And the researchers came up with a really clever experiment to get the answers they were looking for.
It's called a staggered rollout, and it's pretty smart. Instead of giving everyone help all at once, they do it in waves. So Group 1 gets the support first. A little while later, Group 2 gets the exact same help. By comparing how both groups change over time, they can filter out all the other random stuff that happens and see what the real impact of the program was. It's a powerful way to prove cause and effect, which is the kind of solid evidence policymakers really need.
And they're gathering the evidence in a few different ways. They're using long-term surveys to track the hard numbers, but they're also doing these deep dive interviews to understand the human stories behind those numbers. And crucially, they're breaking all this data down by gender and by age, so they can see exactly who's doing the work and who's reaping the rewards. It's about getting the whole story, you know?
Okay, so we've got the problem, the proposed solution, that deeper question, and the clever experiment. But what's the end game here? This is the most important part, turning all that data into actual real-world policy.
This quote from the research paper just nails it. The whole point is to inform gender-responsive, climate-resilient agricultural strategies. That phrase, gender-responsive, that's the key. It's not some add-on, it's the entire focus. They want to build strategies that aren't just smart about climate, but are also fair to everyone.
I mean, the potential impact here is just enormous. If this works, it means smarter strategies for Tanzania for sure, but it also creates a kind of roadmap for other countries facing the same issues. It's about creating policies that grow the economy for everybody.
and making absolutely sure that in our rush to solve climate change, we don't accidentally leave women behind.
So when you boil it all down, this whole project is about one incredible journey. It starts with data from a single-family farm and ends with a national policy that could improve millions of lives. It's that ultimate connection from the micro to the macro.
And that leaves us with a final question, one that goes way beyond Tanzania. As we keep innovating and coming up with solutions to the world's biggest problems, how do we make sure, right from the very beginning, that progress is designed to lift everyone up equally?